everyone, Ibrahim Yunus is the name. I'm an author, a motivational speaker, a relationship coach, and a financial consultant. The purpose, the core mission of this program is to help minimize divorce in our country, help minimize poverty in our country, and help minimize low self-esteem among the youth in our country. Our topic today is a topic I'm very, very passionate about, and the topic is Black is Bright. Black is Bright. We are fortunate to have in our midst a very powerful, phenomenal life coach, a lady that has been very, very helpful. She guides a lot of people to find their true meaning in life. She's good, and I felt like this topic is a topic that will really help us. So if you really want to understand why Black is Bright, please stay tuned and listen to this program. Let's go on a commercial break to come back. Thank you very much. Welcome back. As I earlier stated, the topic is Black is Bright. Why Black is Bright? There are a lot of people that first Black is devil. Some think Black is evil. Some don't even want to associate themselves with Black. Now here is a white lady that first Black is Bright. I want you to listen to her. Why did she say Black is Bright? Hello, Madam Carole. You are welcome.
Thank you.
I want you to introduce yourself to the audience, for them to know who you are. Introduce yourself to them.
Okay, well, I will start with my name again. I'm Carole Donkers. That is the name given to me by my parents in the Netherlands. I was born and raised there, but since a young age I also felt a connection to Africa. And currently I'm living in Ghana, in northern Ghana. And I live and work here as a life transformation facilitator, which means I empower conscious people to build a life that lights them up inside.
Thank you very much. The other time, although you said Black is Bright, we'll come to that. But last week, when I interviewed you, that was in Hope in Academy, you made a statement that struck my chord. For a whole week I slept, I couldn't understand it. The statement went too deep in my heart. I felt it. And what you said was that, you said we are different, but we are equal. You have no idea what this means to me. What makes you make that statement?
Well, that is simply how I feel it. Our viewers, if they look at us, they see a man and a woman. They see a black man, a white woman. They see someone from Ghana, someone from the Netherlands. They see someone from Africa, someone from the Western world. So on the outside, we have a lot of differences. And I also feel that we are different because you are unique, I am unique. Okay. We have our unique talents and unique capacity. There's only one of me and there's only one of you. So in that sense, we are different. But if we bring it to the level of human being and humanity, then you are a human being and I am a human being. We have brains, we have emotions, we have a body. So for me, we are equal as human beings.
Wow.
Yes.
Actually, I understand you are working on your book. What actually is the title of the book?
Western Mind, African Heart, One Spirit, How Africa Helped Me to Reclaim My Freedom.
To reclaim your freedom.
Yes.
How Africa helped you
Yes.
to reclaim your freedom.
Yes.
Why Western Mind, African Heart, and not African Mind, Western Heart? Why?
Well, that has to do with how I have been growing up. For me, the Western society, or let me say Netherlands, and the environment that I grew up in, was very mind-oriented. I have learned from a young age to be goal-oriented, to be result-oriented, to get everything done that I wanted to get done. But at some point I realized it was a life living in this part of me, like mainly mind-focused. And that was at some point an empty feeling. And when I went into Africa for the first time, I felt that Africa was touching something in me. And I didn't know exactly what it was then. I just felt like, wow, when I'm here, I feel more complete. There's more of me when I am in Africa. And later on, I realized that that was the connection with the heart. So Africa has opened my heart. And I also feel from within sometimes that I'm more African or more Ghanaian even than that I am from the Netherlands.
Let's come to your story. Then I'll then connect it to Black is Bright. What inspired you to make that statement, Black is Bright?
Mm-hmm. Well, that is a summing up of my life journey in connection with Ghana and its people. And it literally came from a moment that I had in 2016. I was at a festival in Accra, the World Poetry Festival. I ended up there. And I met Pobi Mwintombo, also known as Poet Pobi. He is from Upper West Wa. And we started a conversation. And at some point, he asked me where I was coming from or why I was in Ghana. And then I shared his story, my story with him. And in that story, I have a connection with Kunta Kinte. And he said, as a reply, oh, I wrote a poem about Kunta Kinte. And the moment he said that, I felt that there was so much light surrounding us, and it as if past, present, and future came together in that one moment.
Was it the first time you heard the name Kunta Kinte? Was it the first time?
No. That is where my life story starts to be on it. It is where the connection with Africa came from at a very young age.
Okay.
When I was around 10 or 11 years old, I loved to go to the library and spend time in between books. I'm very blessed that I had that opportunity. And one day I picked the book Roots. It is the story of Kunta Kinte. He is a 15-year-old boy from Gambia. He was captured as a slave and transported to the United States of America, where he spent the rest of his life in captivity. Now, in that book, and there was also a film around that same time, I saw a young boy growing up into a very persistent, passionate, strong young man who was fighting for freedom throughout life. And when he couldn't find it in the external world, he found it within himself. Yes, and in that story, or whilst reading it, Kunta Kinte became my hero. And he still is my hero today. And I was also exposed via TV and media with images related to Africa. And the only thing I saw was sad people crying, children with tears, very skinny. And I was told that Africa was a poor continent that needed our help. But I didn't understand, because I read that story of Kunta Kinte, and he was happy where he was living in his rural village. He was playing with his friends, he was connected to animals, to nature, he had a happy family around him.
That is when you were in Europe, the images you had via the media was about Africa was very different.
Yeah, it was like a continent of poverty that needed our help. And I didn't understand anymore why it needed our help, because I felt that there was something there in Africa that would help me. And I decided at that age that one day I would go into Africa to explore Africa from the inside out. And I worked very hard to make that possible. And I came to Ghana for the first time, to Tamale in 2007. And I decided that I wanted to live in a host family, because that is the way to really, really be integrated in the life of people here. And it was also an Islamic family because I felt I'm baptized as a Christian, and I also wanted to learn more about other religions than my own. So yeah, that is how I came to Ghana for the first time.
So you've realized that the imagery you had from when you were young child growing up from Europe, the images you have about Africa, when you came here, was it really true?
No, I was right.
Oh, okay, I love that.
Yeah, no, well, of course we all have a mindset and we all have belief systems.
Okay.
So if you believe that Africa is poor, with people needing my help, then I start to behave like that.
Okay.
But I didn't feel like that.
Okay.
I could only see powerful people and potential. And so that is also the type of people that I met, the type of story that Africa became.
Last week when I interviewed you, you made a statement. You said Africa is the only continent that can survive on its own. I would like you to touch on that. But let's go on break. When we come back, I would like you to touch on why do you think Africa is is the only continent that can live on its own? Let's go on break to come back. Welcome back, my dear viewers. Do you know that Africa is one of the continents, or is the only continent that can survive on its own? Do you know that? Well, let's listen to Carole. My dear Carole, what makes you, why, I want you to say something, add flesh to that statement.
Well, I can be very short in that. Just be aware of the natural resources that are available on the continent Africa. Okay. Look at Ghana itself, for example, with its oil. The whole world is depending on oil. And we have so many natural resources in Africa that if you would protect them, if you would take ownership of these, then you don't need the rest of the world. The rest of the world knows what Africa has to offer. And that is why foreigners like to invest in these days. And that is why they also gave this developmental aid. Well, the most important in what I'm saying here is people wake up. Value what you have and don't give it away. Don't sell it out.
Okay.
Yes.
Before we go to your 3 core values you cherish so much, there was one of the statements you made that I was very, very touched with that. You spoke good about Africa. You made me fall in love with Africa. And one of the things I wanted to ask you is, what do you think is missing in Africa?
You valuing who you are and what you have. So it brings me also back to the statement of black is bright. Because in that moment that I had with Miss Bobby Wintombo, and I wrote a poem after that with the title Black is Bright. The words just started flowing. And what I realized is that it was not about him and me per se. It was about what he's representing and what Africa and the young generation is representing for me. You helped me to find my inner light. You helped me to open my heart. You helped me to grow into a spiritual connection. And that means for me life is light. Life is bright. Whilst when I was living in the Netherlands, I felt a lot of darkness. I felt a lot of negativity. I felt I was missing something, but I didn't know what.
Okay.
Now, what I notice in working with the young generation, with the young people, is that sometimes you totally don't value who you are, what you have, and where you come from. You learn from a young age that the Western world is the ideal world. And you try to copy a lot of things that are out there in the Western world. That doesn't mean that you should not explore what is out there. But the moment you are not connected to who you are and the value that you have here in Ghana on itself, then you start to disconnect yourself from who you authentically are.
So that's the shift.
Yeah, for me that is
That's
a shift.
one of the shifts.
Yeah, I had to make a shift,
Okay.
coming from living in the mind to living in the heart, and being that high performer, very goal-oriented, result-oriented. I now know how to perform in the power of my heart. I became a much nicer person, being that and doing that. And I feel that, on the other hand, people in Africa have to make the shift and start to believe in who they are and the potential that they have inside of them.
You know, one of the questions I asked you was that I asked you about people. What actually is one of the huge problems for the youth and people? And you said is like disconnection.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, that is. I find that difficult to describe, because it's also a feeling that I have and that I know from myself. But this disconnection is what I just also said, being moving away from who you authentically are, moving away from what Ghana is, the values that you have here, the culture that you have here, because you try to copy something from the outside world. So this disconnection is also defining yourself based on what the outside world might think of you, of what you think the outside world thinks of you. And that is again where the black is bright comes in. It's a huge difference. If you call yourself every day in, day out, you tell yourself, hey, black is bright, like Carole said, or black is less, black is minority, black is useless, black is powerless. Check for yourself what the difference is if you say black is bright or black is less.
Well, I think let's come to values.
Mm-hmm.
Every human is not defined by what clothing he wears, his color of skin, the gender. A human being is actually defined by his values, the value you wear. What are 3 key values you cherish most as Carole?
What I notice that I need around me, which is also what I try to be for other people and give other people, is openness. Which means I am as I am. As we are sitting here now, this is who I am. This is what you get. I don't feel that I need to give you something better or a performer or whatever. I thought that was necessary in the past, but I don't feel that again now. So which also means that I'm very open in sharing about myself, my life experiences, everything that I am, because I don't have anything to hide. And that openness also connects to being judgmental, non-judgmental. Especially if you live in a country that is not your own, you realize how much you are judging on what you are seeing and experiencing. And for example, if we say you are a man and I am a woman, then the judgment already starts there. Because when I see you as a man, then we have a conditioned, what we call conditioning inside of us. You are the man that society defines you to be, in my mind. But when I learn to know you, through my openness, to interacting with you, to having a conversation with you, then I notice like, hey, yeah, Yunus might be a man, but he is Yunus.
Okay.
And you can only get that to that point, between people or in the connection, if you are non-judgmental.
Wow.
Because when I am judgmental, then I start with black, you are black. Or one of the things that I find quite painful is that people, when I'm moving on the street, people shout at me and call me Saliminga, Saliminga, Saliminga. I know that that is their way to make a connection to me, but it actually hurts.
It hurts?
Yeah. You know why?
What?
Because then you see me as that white woman carrying a big bag of money on her back, ready to help you with whatever you need or want.
It makes you feel less.
Yeah, it makes me. It
No,
makes that you.
the person who calls you Silmenga,
Yeah.
he lessens himself or herself.
Yeah, that is one perspective, and the other perspective is what it's doing with me is that I feel that you don't value me
Okay.
on who I am. You
Okay.
value me on the color of my skin,
Wow.
and you have a lot of conclusions.
So
related
color
to
is
that.
different from who a person is.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. And then you asked like my core values.
Okay.
One other very important one is I have a learning attitude.
Okay.
I am 100% focused on exploring, learning, and developing myself to become my full potential as a human being. That is a lifetime job that I feel I have. And I captured that for myself in 3 words. And those 3 words also came from the co-creations that I had with the young generation here in Ghana.
Okay.
I started working together with them from the question, what exactly do you need to bring yourself to a next level in life? And from there, I started developing a life and learning philosophy that is called Talent Beyond Limits.
Talent beyond limits.
Yeah. And that's talent because I believe that we all have our own unique talents inside of us. Beyond because there's so much more available for us beyond what we see and know now. And limits is because we can overcome any limitation within ourselves and the world around us.
Wow.
Yes.
I want to ask you this question, and I want you to be very honest and passionate with me. What do you think a northern youth really need?
What they need is what they told me they need. So when I started to work with the young generation, from that question, what exactly do you need to bring yourself to the next level in life? Almost everyone, and I interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people, almost everyone said encouragement.
Wow.
Yes. So I try to create a learning space for people with encouragement as a basic fundament. In my learning space, you deserve to be you. And I'm very dedicated to get the best out of you and your life. And encouragement is a very good way to help you find that.
Why do they need encouragement?
As I heard it, or as people expressed it to me, it has to do with parents who don't encourage you to do what you really want to do. I come from there as well. This choice of being in Ghana was not encouraged by my parents. So I know that can pull you back and bring you down. So you have the choice to accept as it is, or the choice to find your own way, and sometimes bring the relationship with your parents on tension. Then another one is the educational system.
Okay.
You sit in a classroom most of the time. You learn from books, and you have to produce what you learn on exams. But the environment is not encouraging you to step into action or to get the best out of you. So those I know, and then also society.
Okay.
Sometimes the moment someone starts to make a difference, we also like to bring the person down again. I think that is a habit that people have. So a lot of the times when you feel like, yeah, this is who I am, then other people start discouraging you because they want to keep you where you are.
So an average northern youth really need encouragement.
Yeah.
I think we don't have much time. I would love you to look at the camera and tell my audience one thing, or tell the whole world one thing, one message you really want them to hear you say.
Well, always remember, black is bright. And from there, be love, be light, be true, be you.
Okay. I think I'm well known with this statement, but before I'll make that, I've learned a lot from Carole, and I've realized that some of the things she said. One is that we are different, yes, but then we are equal. If you look at Carole, she's white, I am black, she's European, I am African. And even individually, she's unique, I am unique. But the core, we are equal. And I love that. I really love that. Well, I'm well known with this status in the world is not defined by what work you do, but by how well you do it. It doesn't really matter what you do. Whatever you do, giving your all. And everybody around you shall benefit from it. And remember, be givers in life. Don't wait for people to show you love. Give love first. And remember what Prophet said. La yu'minu ahadukum hatta yuhibba li akhihi ma yuhibba li nafsihi. That none of you is truly a believer until you wish for your brother what you wish for yourself. Myself, Carole, production team, Mr. Ahmed, MJ, OG, Mr. Arafat, Princita, NTV, General Manager, everybody. We wish ourselves the best. Therefore, we wish you too the best. That is why we came with this program, Down with the Motivator, to give you hope. Without hope, honestly, you will not see the need to wake up in the morning. Hope is very important. What some of you really need to survive, to succeed, is hope. And the purpose of this program is to give you hope. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Black is bright. It is in your light that I started shining. Warm as the sun, twinkling as a star. What started as a sparkle deep down in each of us becomes one fire burning on the voices of our souls, on the joy of our passion, on the love in our hearts. Unstoppable is now the light of the eternal flame called what